Like a lot of Democrats on the campaign trail, Joe Biden likes to tell his supporters some stories, but a new report from the Washington Post says that Biden got, quote, almost every detail of a moving war story wrong in New Hampshire last Friday. Biden was talking about pinning a medal on a Navy captain who felt he didn't deserve it. We're bringing in our resident fact checker, Jane Timm, here to give us a read on Biden's story now. And Jane, you said this was a pretty complicated one to fact check. Biden has responded to the Post report saying that the central point of the story is true. I guess first, is that true? And, what details did he get wrong here?
So Biden tells this story, or some version of it, a lot. He says that, he went on this military trip and it was dangerous, but he wanted to go anywhere. And he goes to the Konar province of Afghanistan, and he hears about how this man had climbed down into a ravine to rescue a fallen soldier. And he comes back up and he doesn't want to get this medal because he feels so heartbroken that his fellow comrade has fallen. And as it turns out, that's about 3 different really heroic war stories, all kind of pushed together into one anecdote.
Okay.
So he gets, in this specific story, I actually wrote this down, the location, the military branch, the act of valor, the actual medal are all wrong in the story that Biden told in New Hampshire last week. Now, it turns out there are these incredibly moving, heroic stories. The man of story, whose story Biden seems to be trying to tell the most, the one who didn't want a medal because he felt so heartbroken about the loss of his comrades, had tried to pull someone out of a burning car. He enters this burning car and can't save his friend who has already passed.
Okay.
And he says, when he actually was interviewed by the Washington Post, and said it was an incredibly moving experience looking at the vice president and feeling like he understood their grief. Biden's connection over grief and experience is really his selling point in this election. But at the end of the day, Biden really needs to get the facts right, particularly when he looks at voters and says, my word as a Biden, that is the truth, which is what he said after telling that story.
He did. All right. So he brought, it seems like the takeaway here, 3 different stories sort of merged into one.
All kind of mixed together. And, Joe Biden people like that he seems a little bit less polished than other politicians. They like that he seems real. He doesn't seem like he's perfectly rehearsed. But at the end of the day, voters do want truth, and Democratic voters do want their candidates to say what the actual facts are, and this does not help convince voters that the oldest candidate in the race is really the one who sort of has it all so perfectly together and on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, we know, people have said before, Biden has said himself that he's a bit of a gaffe machine. He's getting a lot of flack for this one, though. I mean, I feel like it's almost shedding light on an issue that we have in our country where Americans really want the truth from their politicians, and we're just not getting enough anywhere.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there wasn't a role of a full-time fact checker at NBC News, I'd say 10, 20 years ago. But there is now, and it's me.
Here you are.
But, people do want this. And I think Democrats particularly do want it because they trust that when they read the report in the Washington Post and they read the report that we've gone through and checked, and we have not verified this exact reporting. We've not done the dozen interviews that the Washington Post did. But they trust that this is the truth because the veterans who were involved in these stories all recounted, their commanders and them recounted what happened in these 3 different truly heroic stories. And they said, yeah, those are the details.
Okay, so we know the details weren't right here. They don't seem to be right here. So how do mistakes like this, how do flubs like this affect a candidate? Will this be a big problem, do we think, for Joe Biden?
I think if you go and ask voters on the trail, they're going to say, he got some details wrong, no big deal. But I do think it quite makes a big difference in how much they trust him the next time, or how much when he says something controversial, do they feel like, no, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. It erodes people's trust in politicians, which is a huge problem we have right now.
Does that mean that every time he tells a story now we're going to be calling you, Jane, to make sure that this is actually, these are the set of facts?
Oh, goodness, I hope not. But war stories that get exaggerated over time, that's kind of a time-honored political tradition.
Yeah, this is not the first time.
Usually they're not other people's.
Right. All right, Jane Timm, thank you for running us through what is true and what is false here. We always appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.